Yeah, we're waiting for Hoops in the Sun right now. But if y'all don't know this, y'all might not be. This might be the wrong station for you right here. It's grown people music. Your man, the world famous. Where the greenies at? Where the greenies at? All right, Joe, where you at? Where's my man? Hoops in the Sun. Let me see. Okay, Hoops in the Sun is coming to the building. You don't know nothing about this rooftop right here, Bruce Spence. Chaz, what up? Spence, you don't know nothing about Brucey B. You don't know about the world famous. What up, Joe?
What up, fam?
I just gotta let this rock for a minute. We gotta.
Nah, you do you, right? Baby. You do you.
You remember this, right?
Well, I don't want to. I'm gonna tell you my age, but yeah, I remember.
I remember. Come on.
I remember.
Come on. All right, hold on. All right, Joe. Thanks for coming on.
No doubt.
Everybody knows who you are, but take a minute, introduce yourself.
All right, man. So my name is Joe Cruz. I'm the co-owner of Hoops in the Sun Basketball at Orchard Beach, out in the Bronx. My other co-host and co-owner is Randy Cruz, who's my partner. We've been doing summer league basketball and community work for the past. It would have been 21 years if this summer goes on. So, just want to first and foremost salute to everybody that's tuned in terms of their family safety and well-being. So salute to them first and foremost. So we won't be able to run our games this year. So it would have made 21 years. So we've been doing this kind of work for 20 years. And we've been around all type of talent, from tens all the way to adult, from girls and beyond, and so on and so forth. So Coach Chad, salute to you. So just wanted to let everybody know, if you don't know, our league runs in the summertime, usually between mid-June on the weekends only, to mid-August, Saturday and Sundays 10 to 7.
So you know, there's a lot of things I just found out, just being nosy. But of course, you're the OG of the summer tournaments. I think Dykeman is right on your heels, but this would have been your 21st, and I think Dykeman would have been 20 this year, right?
Actually, it would have been Dykeman's 31st. So he's actually the OG.
31st?
He's 31st. Him and West Fourth is 40 years.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
Fireball, fun sport.
So you're the baby. You the baby.
I'm like middle, but it was baby boomer early. So but I got 20. So I guess that's some kind of weight.
Yeah. In the sun is weight.
Oh yeah. You see what happens to the sun, right? Burn my hair off. So
yeah, I know.
I'm just blessed to be here, man. So
I see that the original way it started, your father started it, and you guys were assisting.
Right. So the story goes, 1999. My dad was he was the national sales trainer for Jennifer Convertibles, and he'll be the one to kind of travel to train people who come new to the company. So his flight was one of his training sessions was in California, and then he had happened to walk by the world-renowned Venice Beach and saw that there was a tournament at the beach, and kind of reminisced, or if not, turn on a light for him in terms of what that looks like in New York or looks like in Orchard Beach, which was his favorite hangout spot. The way Randy and I put it all together was, he called us that day or that weekend he was away and said, "Hey, I just passed by this tournament, man. It got people on rollerblades, it got basketball, it got a lot going on. I think we could do something in New York." And I'm like, at the time he was real close to Earl the Goat Manigault and Ray Diaz. Earl the Goat Manigault who is a street ball figure and icon, and
Plus.
So blessings to him and his family, and then Ray Diaz, who used to run Nike Pro City, were my dad's mentors. So Jay Lloyd, what's up? Appreciate that. So my dad was able to learn from those forefathers, and my dad was in a situation where he felt that Orchard Beach could be the new Venice Beach.
Oh, okay.
He gave us a call and said, "Yo, I want to do basketball." And I'm like, bro, Pops, like, I don't even know we're in this lane, and this lane is already established. And he was like, nah, but I could, we could be different. I'm not gonna try to do it like these guys. And I kind of felt like, um, I just felt like that was his initiative, right? Shots to Kayvon, kid was good, and that was his vision, right? To be different and be, take chances and not do the traditional basketball street ball element in terms of like being actual neighborhood. So even though I love that traditional way, but this gave us an opportunity to kind of expose Orchard Beach and cultivate it to our own, background. And now we got 20 years in the game, and we've established ourselves to one of the top leagues in New York City, and a hub for for good talent, especially up north, and especially all five boroughs, including Connecticut and Albany, and so on and so forth. So we've been blessed to be in a real good situation, and also pay homage to to our local team. So definitely that journey. I can't even tell you if I remember 20 years going that fast, but we're here,
Yeah,
and we're in a new age and facing a pandemic. So
yeah. So
who
everything
would
is
have known, right?
yeah, yeah. We got to stay safe. So was it you? It was your father who initially negotiated the upgrades to the park, or was that you?
Oh, that was my father.
Okay.
So before that, shout to Shanae. She's about to win that the Coach of the Year award for Virginia Knicks.
Coaches.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and salute to Chaz and Spencer. What's up, Coach Spence? So yeah, my dad negotiated that. My dad negotiated. Well, first of all, they didn't really want basketball at Orchard Beach, to be honest with you. So and not to sound like any other way, but it was like more like the parks didn't really understand our culture, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
or what demographic we're working with. So they were sort of like too hesitant to be like, yo, let me. So we assured them that we're going to do the right way. And my dad came from the corporate world and took those tricks of the trade, and he negotiated contracts with the parks and negotiated contracts with our forefather sponsors at the time, and he negotiated all the upgrades. So his thing was, if I'm going to bring money to the park and you guys are making money off me, right, respectfully said, right, you're charging me for the space, like let's talk about how I can make these improvements and better my brand, what I'm saying, and if you're benefiting off me. So one thing about my pops, he's always been creative in understanding how to really integrate the corporate world with the nonprofit world and kind of make it not too corporate, but make it feel like you're in a college facility, you're in an arena, right? 'Cause we want all our athletes to feel special, right? So that's been my dad's thing, is like presentation and make sure that you're always on top of your game. So my brother and I have been always to after my dad passed in '04, my brother and I was able to kind of like continuously make improvements to the park and improvements to the brand and expanding the brand league. So we started with 8 teams at the time, bro, and now we're at
700.
about
Yeah.
60, and it's on a weekend, right? So think about it, right? It's hot, it rains. I gotta get a rain site, so it's a lot. Like I respect all the tournaments that do more, right? It just, for me, 60 is a
Yeah.
lot.
That's a lot.
And
And I was gonna.
and doing it all this time and getting a little breather this summer, doesn't hurt, but it'll be sorely missed. So that goes without saying.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, everybody sees the glamour of it, right? Talk a little bit without revealing your magic about
Sure.
the hard work that goes into producing a hoops on the sun, a hoops in the sun.
Well, I mean, like you, man, like you've been able to build this brand because you're passionate and you love what you do, right?
Right.
So for me is, hey, listen, man, I try to play basketball when I was younger. I try to be close to as good as these guys. And Hoops in the Sun was a platform that allowed me to play on it, but also allowed me to meet friends and colleagues and partners that goes along with putting it all together. But in terms of it being easy, it's not easy. You have to be dedicated and you have to be passionate in what you do. And as much as in this game, bro, that you gain money, you lose money, right? But you always stay to your core, and Hoops in the Sun is my core in terms of never losing myself, in terms of not being able to not be there for my kids, be there for those youth, be there for my staff that put on the show for me. My
Right.
job is just to get the sponsors and make sure they get paid. But with that comes with a lot of expectations and stuff that my brother and I have been able to handle for the past, 16 years since my dad passed. So it's not easy, man. It's hard. And, as much as the summer hurts, it was still work to be done. And we were, and for me, it's like, I'm excited. Like, this is like my baby, right? Like, you want to, like, every year, you want to, like, get a new outfit. You want to get new, what I mean? You want to do something crazy. And, that's what keeps the fire going. And just the people you haven't seen all year, the fans that are dedicated, people who are loyal to you, the people that tell you thank you for being here every summer, don't go away. Like, those are the reasons why I do it every summer. And sometimes, I take it for granted. And I think this year having a pause allows all of us to realize what we should be grateful for in terms of what we have in front of us.
Yeah, I was saying it's almost like it's a
Joe
reset.
Pope, Joe Pope was good.
Yeah, Joe's in the building. He be sneaking in the back door, and then he leave. He don't let us
My
know.
guy, man, one of the best.
But I think it's like a reset myself. Like for us to evaluate things that we could change,
Desi
personal
was
change.
good. Desi, sorry.
Setting type of goals. What was the initial summer, if you can remember, where it exploded? What was that first person that came through that kind of put you on the map? As far as I think it was your men's, like the men's pro type of league.
Um, I'll tell you that, and I don't want to misquote the year. My brother's really good. He's like the Almanac. So I think for me, the year I don't quote me, it was either '02 or '03. Referee rant was good. '02, '03, we had our first big, NBA player come to the park with help of Mountain Dew at the time. I don't know if you remember the point where they did like a street ball campaign, Mountain Dew, a Code Red with Chris Webber at West Fourth and T Mac. So T Mac was in town for the weekend, and he was at the time and still is, and we were at the time sponsored by Adidas. So us being sponsored by Mountain Dew, us being sponsored by Adidas, kind of connected the dots. Had to be a great weekend, and I'm like, okay. So we had an opportunity to have Tracy McGrady come by, and Tracy McGrady was probably the leading scorer in the NBA, and probably considered one of the best two players in the NBA besides Kobe Bryant. God rest his soul. And when I saw this brother come out the limousine, how Mountain Dew and Adidas and my pops at the time, who was alive at the time, was able to kind of have this. I mean, Jay Lloyd was in here. I think Jay Lloyd was there. Like, he could tell you that event was just so organic. How he was able to, how Mountain Dew and Adidas kind of made it a mystery and then became like a trivia and a word, and that his name was in the trivia, which was able to have the fans spell out his name, and then the name would reveal who was the special guest. Special guest came out of a long stretch limousine, and here goes the 6'8", one of the best two guards and the top two players in the NBA at the time. So that's what really springboarded us, in terms of having T-Mac visible at our park. I mean, after that, we had Tim Thomas. After that, we've had Kimber Walker, Tyshawn Taylor, Joakim Noah, Lance Stevenson, Isaiah Whitehead, Ben Uzo. We've had Jimmer Fredette. I might be missing people. Ron Artest, Chris McCullough. I mean, if I miss anybody, I truly apologize. But Scott Machado, Mike Glover, those guys who really played the top level during those years with the help of the coaches and everybody put it together, got us off our ground and got us to a point where we had some kind of rep in the game.
Yeah. So when did you go into the girls' side? Because initially you weren't into girls, right?
Nah, well, it wasn't that I wasn't into it. The fact was it was a hard sell, right? It was hard for me to get girls at any given time because I'm competing with the top tournaments, like Uptown Classic and Rose Classic, respectfully, and and then also with Dykeman having a girls division, and just the accessibility, in terms of the scheduling and the AAU. So for us to get not top quality talent was hard because of the other commitments, and maybe they didn't really know that we were taking girls basketball serious. But we've been doing it for like 6 to 8 years, and I can be a little raw off the year. We have mostly middle school and high school girls. I need help with that, honestly speaking. So I spoke to Shanae, I spoke to some other people who really, help me propel that. One is I want to have my platform be more accessible to that demographic. but also expose them to the right venue. And as much as we got good teams, we can do better in that department. And we're looking to expand in that department. But we just need to get the exposure out there, let them know that we are, who we are, but also that we have top talent too. And and it's just a hard ride. And it's hot. And it's early games or late games, so a lot of different things can work out. But we're looking to take that division to a new level.
Yeah, I think with girls summer leagues, it's just a matter of being competitive. We don't
Yeah,
have to have, at the same time the top names, but as long as it's competitive, it starts to get better, because then
for
people
sure.
play. But if we have those games, and we've all seen it, I'm not saying where it's lopsided losses, it
Right.
becomes hard to even, I think that's what Dykeman was saying, with the women. When it's unbalanced, it becomes less of a draw, and you don't want to be
Right.
bothered. Not to say that,
Yeah,
but
and I think that was I think Sharon and Dykeman do a great job with that. I think I could share that same sentiment in terms of, right, if you got New Heights and Exodus and you got three other prominent teams and two other teams is, you know, coming up, like those games are on draws, especially with girl basketball where the disparity is a little bit different maybe than males at times. I don't know, but not to sound chauvinistic, but just saying that the quality of basketball is so finer in women basketball that you can tell, you can notice the weaker parts of the game in terms of more than maybe boys would. There's a couple of guys that might have a little whatever. So it's a good eye for that. I need to have more of a exposure to that, and I think that we're moving in the right direction because we've had successful summers with quality girl basketball teams. Can we do better? Yeah. Do I want better teams? For sure. And I would like our platform to be more on a national level in terms of coming by the summertime and visit here. So I think
so
the hardest part is the venue is to sell, right? It's like nobody knows it's a beach in New York. So it's like it's a
you know
beach
what
in
I
the
also
Bronx. Like what kind of jazz is that, right? So when you get there, it's like I'm going to Orchard Beach, and then you hear all these different stereotypes, and I'm like, when you get there, it's paradise. Shouts to Opatino. So like it's paradise. So when you get there, it's like, oh shit, it's not bad. Like this is a nice landscape. This is great. This is safe. The kids are so when you get there, it's experience. And I just wanna, shout out to ML Gators. They're the defending champions. So like having teams like that, are Riversides and stuff like that. We're getting in that level. So I'm looking forward to getting that better.
well, I've been in a tournament, right, a few times with
Yes,
girls. So let me say this now: I'm not opposed to, when I'm doing my thing and I'm at my max, saying, "Listen, Hoops in the Sun is looking for teams." You understand what I'm saying? And
of course.
I think we all need that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'd rather have them playing. If you can't play for me, you can play Hoops in the Sun, you can play Dykeman, you can play West Fourth. You understand what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I don't think we all look at it the same. You know what I mean? It's like,
Not. Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I think collectively we could all do a better job with that, and I just think that we're gonna get to that point sooner or later. There's been some conversations about that. So just rest assured that as solid as a person I am, we're gonna we all gotta get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think this is the right time to really reflect on those moments and get better in those areas that you mentioned that we struggle at sometimes. In terms of connectivity and
I don't know if you know Joe Finlon. You know Joe?
Joe
He
Finley.
does
Sound familiar? Sound familiar?
we were just talking to him, and we were talking about this same issue about how during the pandemic we see everybody kumbaya, but once this is over, will it remain the same? You know what I mean? And what I said to him is, I think the new coaches that's coming up, they're a little different than the older coaches.
Right.
So that turnover is going to start to come from down there. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they're more apt to share resources than coaches that you are used to, would do. So we're hoping that we can maintain this. I've always been the dude that didn't mind sharing or giving a number because it does nothing for me to hold it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
When I establish a good relationship, like
Yeah.
you, I can have a good
Right.
relationship just by you saying, "Well, Mo, that person that took the pictures not that you need it,
Yeah.
but can you give me their number?" Why not? First of all, the picture people get more money. You understand what I'm saying? And we both give exposure. So
I hear you, Mo, and I think that's a good point to have the conversation in terms of like I mean, we've got here through resources and people hooking us up. So
Right,
why not salute and pay that homage back, right? So for me,
right,
and at times, there's times I mess up. There's times I probably forget it. Those things happen, but in a genuine place that maybe you and I are in,
right,
I don't listen. We gonna need another Joe Cruz and Mo
right.
at some point in
Gotta
time. You
reach
know what I'm
back,
saying?
right?
Keep on our legacies. So
But I think
shouts to
people
Court
worry.
Masters.
Yeah, I just think people worry that they're gonna lose their shine. Like we're not trying to outshine. It's not a competition. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying? I'm not competing with Hoop and Son. I'm not competing with Dykeman, but I know everybody. You
for
understand
sure.
what I'm saying? So if I call you or if I call Kenny and I ask a question, I'm sure I'm going to get an answer. You know what I mean? Or a path that, hey Mo,
Yeah,
I'm gonna set you on this path, but you got to go do the work. And I
facts.
think people don't want to go do the work. They want you to just hand it to them. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I'm going to give you the number. I'm going to call the person. I'm going to set up the meeting for you. No, I'm not doing all of that, but I will give you the number.
facts. At that point, it's on you, right? So that's at that point, it's on you. It's business, right? So, hey, listen. Maybe this pandemic is a wake up call for all of us, and I hope that
Yeah,
is God's message to all of us to learn how to work together and be together. And and even if you don't like somebody, man, you just got to be in a cordial situation, and you never know what that we never know what that person or resource can do for you, and vice versa. So, I try to I try to keep that to my core, but I hope that with this pandemic we can always we can awake and see what we see in front of us, because
right.
if we don't work together, man, if this pandemic don't scare you and we don't come together next time, it's gonna be worse, especially
Yeah,
especially
yeah,
with the generation we're trying to really cultivate.
yeah. So you've named the who's who of players. You've also had some coaches up there. It ain't like coaches been slouches up there.
Oh,
Like
no, 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 no,
here's
no.
some names of some.
So names. We have Coach. If I start with kids, Coach we had Jay Lloyd. We've had Rob from Court Masters. We've had Danny from Riverside. We've had New Heights in there. I can give you a bunch of those names.
Yeah.
Bobby's Mount Vernon's team. Who else?
I'm not gonna let you skip bingo.
No, well, we get to that. We get to that.
Okay, okay.
We got the Gauchos. We've had the Riversides. We've had the Long Island Lightning. We've had neighborhood some tournament teams coming. So now to the pros. Sean Oliver from 914 and K-Born from 914 is definitely official. Bingo, without a doubt, is a Hoops in the Hall of Famer. Sean Bell Ra, also Hall of Famer, so salute to him. We have also Jose from R2K, as well as also Ra, who played a pivotal role with that, Hall of Famers. And who else we had? We've had Sid Jones, who passed, God rest his soul. We've had James Ryan.
And the
I
list
mean,
goes on,
list
right?
goes on. This goes on.
So
We've had
so it's
up there. So
hard to maintain control of the men's game, like crowd, like it gets a little rough. You know what I mean? How do you maintain safety at those games?
more honestly, every year it gets more nerve wracking because I'm probably one of the few tournaments that don't have like a legit security, but there's cops and fire, there's people all over the place. So I think the respect of that, the venue, the young kids, the families, and also respect for me and Randy and our staff. I think that we've developed a professional respect rapport. And I'm not a kind of guy that gets out of character, and
Right.
I like to, try to dissolve issues, one on one, or if not, you know, answer the call and talk about it, right? So I think to answer your question, I think the way we handle ourselves professionally, the way we conduct business, the way that we portray or try to display our league, where it looks like a pro league, where you got to respect it at that level. Like I think those examples are probably the reason why I don't get as much riff. But there are sometimes this riff, especially with you know uh, pro basketball contact, missed call, um, wrong sub, clock goes off, no water. The, I can't hear my team during the timeout. You're playing music, Joe, and where's the shade? I get those complaints. So I think for me, it's more about managing those personalities as opposed to worrying about the
Right.
safety because we never been on that type of time and we don't really promote or showcase that. And not saying anybody does, but I know especially our venue, we can't get away with that.
At that level, is that invite only, or do certain teams do they reach out to you? What do you?
Um, People who know me, I'm willing to give chances. So shouts to NutriZone. I've opened my doors. I mean, I want at some point for me there's a standard. Like if you
Yes.
want to come here just to be a donation, like it's cool. I'm not the person taking money. If you want to compete or win a championship, Riverside Lou, what's up? If you want to make a name for yourself, you want to really win the championship, I'll take you. And even if you have no name, I'll take you. Right. So I just want hungry teams, and for me, it was like I've got overwhelmed a lot of high quality programs that I didn't make room for those teams that were like trying to get trying to move up in the game. So I try to stay true to that, right?
Okay.
Because when I started, I didn't have these big time teams. So, but I also want to make competitive where, like you said, like it's business, right? You're a friendly competitor to other leagues. You want to get the best tournament, the best players, but also you want kids to have a good time and feel like they're coming out here to spend money on
Yeah.
transportation or parking.
Right.
I need my quality to be higher than anybody else
Yeah.
because of what kind of travel or situation it takes to get to Orchard Beach. So, respectfully said.
All right. Got you. So Coach Jay Lloyd said the best game was Pool 5 versus Take No Prisoners until the lights went off.
I remember that.
Yeah. How was
Yeah,
that?
I
Crazy.
remember that. And I also did some games in the spring league, so I think he's reverting to that. But at one point in time, for like a 5-6 year stretch, I was doing a indoor spring league for kids and adults. And I mean, it was like 2014. It was a nice run. I was doing it at Baychester Gym, so a lot of cats come home and they want to play, and then they'll call me from overseas. Well, I'm in town this weekend. I'm like, hey, aren't you overseas? I'll be back this weekend. I'm like, well, and then became like the young high schoolers and middle schoolers. I did games on the weekend, so it was definitely dope. J. Lo said Pops 5, and I'm trying to remember that game, Jay. I will come back to me.
Any
Yeah,
that stand out to you that you remember that was just
game. Kids or game? Pro.
you can highlight some of your kids' games, some of your pros games, anything that stands out in your mind. Shout them out.
Um, yeah. So shout out to E Weaver on a check in. It's my boy. I'll check with the kids game in a second, but I remember it was an all-star game. I remember it was probably 2015. We had two of the MVPs and our 19U. I think it's Travis Austin and somebody else going at it. It was a crazy game. And the other all-star game is when, and again, I don't want to keep remembering, but there was a play that Isaiah Jellyfan did on Baba G's in the all-star game, and overtime clipped it, and then he fell, and then that was a good day. The whole day, not just that play, but the whole day. In terms of pro, I mean, there's so many classics. I mean, from the spring league, I remember vividly at Baychester Gym, it was a big game, R2K versus Bingo Indoors. And I mean, like springtime, it felt like an outdoor summer league in the middle of July. Like
Right,
everybody,
right.
I mean, they call it the Madison Square, the Uptown Madison Square Garden. Like, I mean, it was like standing room only. And if you've been to Baychester, like, it's a nice gym, but it's like those areas you could find holes in were filled. So that's one of the games I remember vividly that I enjoyed. Because as you know, you're a commissioner. You do things. You don't really watch the games. Like I only watch the games.
Yeah. You
Like
don't have time. Got
so
so
I
many other.
remember. I'm like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and now that my brother got some games that we found in the vote that we're gonna start doing on our live, we're gonna showcase those games. So I'll probably get a better idea of how those games was. But I remember that game. I remember Raj, DDN, Sean Bell All Star versus another bingo game indoors at Baychester for the chip. That was a great game. BK Stompers versus Avlife was a great game recently. Anytime R2K and Sean Bell All Stars come together is a great game. So I got a couple of classics.
Yeah.
I don't. I'll be lying to you if I watch every game, but in terms of what I remember, what I've seen, or staff telling me you missed that or that was a great one. Those are super dope.
I seen some games on YouTube. Is that you posting it, or that's just somebody else posting them?
That's my
Sometimes I
that's my brother. So my brother, anything we do on the live is my brother Nine. But in terms of the tech stuff and kind of reliving history, that's my brother. So we got some stuff cooking up. So we got a couple of the games that we're gonna drop, and we're probably gonna use this time to kind of reflect, get ready for the summer 21, and then we're probably gonna do our own summer league virtually. So we'll stay tuned for that. So we're gonna have that opportunity.
I was going to ask you.
Got a lot of content to show. If we had games outdoors, probably we'll have those areas. So
okay, because I was going to ask you what's your outlook for everything now? Forget about we know park permits are canceled, but in the bigger picture, 3 to 5 years, what are you looking at? What do you want to be happening?
Right. Shouts to All Things Hoops and Mo's Def on the check-in. So to answer your question, Mo, this is, like I said, the time for us to all come together and figure that out, because a lot of stuff that that the regular way to get tournaments off the ground, or the regular way to start doing business or bringing people together in masses, is going to take a drastic change. So for us, it's just trying to be, having our ears to the ground to make sure that we know what's going on in the changes, but also ready to make a stand if needed, to make sure that these things don't change without us, because we are pillars in our communities, and things are going to change. Whether it's definitely politics, whether it's definitely group outings, permits, special events, um, things of that sort is going to change. So I think that for answer that question now, I don't know, but I know there'll be some changes coming down the way, especially how we greet each other, especially how we interact with each other properly. I don't foresee masks going away for us quite some time. How do we figure out how to keep hands clean during the games? And it's going
It's
to be
impossible.
It's gonna be a lot. You got to have a hand sanitizer sponsor for this, man. This is crazy.
Facts.
So anybody take that idea, I gave it to you, but that's like the only idea I could think of, because
listen, you can't be on the beach, right? It's 90 degrees, breathing carbon dioxide back in because you got your mask on, bro. You're gonna have people dead.
For sure. It's gonna be tough. So like this year gives us time to really, address those issues, but also hopefully the city and state get this place in a more comfortable state of mind. Like the way we eat in restaurants, the way we do everything is gonna change, and I think that's what we need to be ready for. Understand, like you know what it is for us to do a basketball tournament like this, but like all these other roadblocks are going to be in front of us, and if we don't not prepare for it, or at least be open to accepting it, but also being collaborative, it's the only way you're going to beat that one.
Well, somebody hit me with some information which I didn't know. I didn't know, like, you take off your shirt and you turn into Superman, because I heard you ref. You ref?
I do ref. Yes, I do.
All right.
Yes, so I am a Ball 42 representative. I am a certified official, and I've been doing it for 3 years. My mentor, Bernard Bowen Sr., shouts to Bernard and his son and his family, gave me, kept just telling me, hey, Joe, you have a knack for talking to people. You know the game. You're around it. These people hang out with you. Hang out with them. You're in a lifestyle. Like, you know the game. And Mr. Fisher Rob is my partner. So, I've done about 3 or 4 years in refereeing. So started doing basic games, like bitty games, and then started to get better and see the game differently, and did middle school, and then worked my way up to doing more of like the corporate league, and then I got opportunity last year to do JV, and then this year I got JV and varsity. So, and then I've done a few summer leagues. So, I've been sprinkled here and there, because one, I know when they see me is like, oh, Joe, what's up? Oh, hoops.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yo,
like,
what's up? I need a call.
Like,
yo, Joe, I need a call. What's up with that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, I need a team. I'm like, so sometimes I don't go, and all due respect, I don't go to certain venues, because as much I want to be Joe Cruz, like, I mean, Hoops in the Sun, I got to be Joe Cruz right now. So it's like, it's a little different. But I definitely enjoyed the game. It keeps me fit. It lets me see the game so differently. I've had so many good mentors in my life that, in terms of basketball officials, that kind of let me see the game from the lenses, and then working with my, with my counterparts, it's been dope, man. So I was really in a good rhythm with that. I had about a 26 game schedule, high school schedule this year, so that's pretty cool. So I was super uh, grateful. But yeah, that's my alter ego. I do refereeing, and it's dope, man. I mean, if nobody's tried it, I don't do pro, so people don't feel like you're gonna go to pro division get cursed out. Yes, I tried it one time, it don't work. So
Nah.
for me, I just do kids on the way down, and then I try to stay away from like high level AAU because I know those teams and I don't want it to be a deciding factor. So I stay within
Right.
my parameters. But definitely, if you
That's
haven't tried it, man, it's definitely a great craft to pick up. Um, it's
no,
not
no,
about
I'm with
yeah,
you. I think we need to encourage people because there's a shortage of refs, right? They need younger guys to come in. I'm not younger guys to come in and kind of fill the ranks of refs. So
right.
if you like basketball, you don't
You
actually
know,
have to coach. You know what I mean? You don't have to. You could be a ref.
right. And then having, well, also, I mean, I don't know if there's a shortage, but I think that there's more need for women officials that I've heard. I also Eric Weaver is a mentor of me with fishing too, with officiating too. So like, just watching those guys and just watching the game, I've been blessed to see it in a different level. You watching game, even watching NBA games, you see it differently. You know what I mean? And it's like that is a good call. That's not a good call. So definitely educational. I use it for experience as well, but I also use it to stay fit and just be around. Be around the great
Yeah.
ones.
Around again, and it's funny because Spence was just asking that. Do you see a difference? And you just told him you like. I see a difference. I'm more alert to.
Spence knows because
Yeah.
I coached against him in UBA last year, and then he had like me and him went at it, so he didn't think I was the coach, but then he didn't know I was a ref, so I had him and his coach bugged out because I was like, "That's a good call and bad call," and I was over there bugging out on the sideline too. So he was like, "What is this, Joe Cruz?" So I love basketball. I do it because it kept me away from doing what I should be doing, and my dad did a great job mentoring me and putting me in a place where I can be in this fraternity with you guys for such a long time. And listen, man, this is like a frat. Like I love it. Like me and you always kick it, and we go anywhere. It's like it's always love and it's always like respect. So in terms of NYC basketball and what we create as a fraternity is like a secret society. So it's super dope.
So let me ask you. Let's say a kid or young adult comes up to you and says, "Joe, listen, I want to get involved with you know, the whole process." Do you take people under your wing and kind of try to teach them, or do you have anybody you're kind of trying to bring up to just see what's going on? Do you,
In terms of like
yeah,
the league that I run,
running the tournaments? Just you have a wealth of knowledge,
yeah.
So do you and your brother have interns working at the tournament? You know what I'm saying?
Do we have like a
Like somebody that wants to learn. They're watching
Oh
you.
yeah. I'm sorry. I think we
Oh,
probably
sorry.
got chopped up. So, but well, for me, I'm teaching my brother. Right now, he understands the game. He understands analytics. He understands social media. Now it's about the relationship building, right? It's like how you network with people and how you kind of cultivate that to make it a network of people where you can kind of go anywhere in the world and do this tournament. So, for him, it's just like about getting those relationships and maintaining them, and also kind of how do you make it your own, right? The good and the bad thing is like my brother and I is always synonymous. So it's like at one point in time we're gonna have to, either I'm gonna walk away and he succeeds, and he'll have somebody else that he has, and also one of my good friends, my best friend actually, Kendrick Flowers, and Samara and Q and my staff all come together help me out with this. But in terms of longevity, it's been my brother and my man Kendrick who's been
So
kind of really behind the scenes.
those are the ones you're grooming so that you could say one day, all right,
And
it's
and,
a,
and it's kind of different, right? Mo, it's like kind of like I groom them, they groom me because they're better in certain things that I'm not good at. So like,
mhm.
I give those guys homage too. Like I'm the face of the tournament because I was forced to be the face of the tournament. Like I didn't choose to be the face of the tournament. Somebody said, "Yo, you're the oldest brother. You gotta do this now."
Right, right.
At the same time, I was older than my brother, so we're yak and yak. Like we know who's stronger and what and who's not, and then we kind of like we have a good bounce to that, right? So um, and that's been our secret sauce. And in terms of like, anytime we interact with some youth, we try to make sure we infected with some kind of tool or skill set they can get, and they come back, so they become a lifers with us. But in terms of like the whole tournament, at one point in time, I wasn't really open to like delegating or like letting go. And then now I'm like starting to understand I gotta let go in order for this to kind of prosper. And you kind of understand I'm going, right? Like, what I mean? Like, that's my baby, man.
Get
I ain't
older.
really, I ain't trying to put it into, like I'm not bringing it to like after school program right now on the way, and it's cool like that. But in order for this to grow, I did my first 20 years. I did my first bid. I'm done, right? Like now it's about how do you reinvent yourself and how do you make others help you become greater by them being great. So that's going to be my focus now.
Yeah. He just disturbed. Yeah. Who do your uniforms just come pre-made, or you guys sit there and design the uniforms?
So the uniform is a great question. So my brother designs them, and then my boy Kendrick, who I mentioned earlier, are co-creators on that. I have final say, but I have nothing to do with the uniforms. I just said make sure it represents the colors in the brand, make sure colors the uniform, it exemplifies the beats and brightness, and let it be different from everybody else. So
Yeah,
they
definitely
take charge.
different.
Yeah, we try to
Yeah,
keep it beachy and sandy and all that good jazz.
they
So
be
they do a good job.
abstract. Abstract. That's the word, man.
Yes.
But I don't want to kill all your time because you also have a very important initiative you and Kai are involved in. And I want you to talk about that. You know what I mean? I want you to, explain how it helps, in the city, because it's a city project right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Adidas Legacy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Explain that. How did that come about? What it does for the city. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 years ago, and shouts to Elijah Irving, Stevenson. Oh yeah, we're coming. Canarsi's in here. So some of my teams are here. Um, so 2017, and also Gators, for sure. So 2017, I had how you say reconnected with my former sponsor at the time was Adidas. They came back into Hoops in the Sun, and then had a good year. And then a year after that, there was an opportunity to do more grassroots stuff. And that at that time, the guy I was working with was telling me that we had a good synergy working together on Hoops in the Sun as a project. What do you think about what do you think about doing this opportunity with me? And I said, well, I don't do basketball like that the way I should be, but this would be challenging. If you're looking for somebody that's really vetted in that, I may not be a guy. And he's like, no, you're my guy because you know how to, build relationships and you know how to
Relation.
serve them, and you know how to keep it real and you're a professional. So I think it's more than that. So I think the people we want to really partner with is that. I said, okay, well, what it's about. So 2016, I believe, or that All Stars, NBA All Star weekend, that it was LA. Um, the guy that I was working with, who I can't reveal his name, but I just say the guy I'm working with, he designed a platform in LA where he was going to work with underprivileged schools in underprivileged neighborhoods that were in need of an apparel sponsorship, but without money. So it was a partnership where I won't say sponsorship. It was a partnership where they look for schools who don't have a pre-existing deal, that wouldn't have any competitors in that was in a tough neighborhood, that had the demographic that we were looking for in terms of um, encouraging. Right, was kids schools who had free reduced lunches, kids who have some diversity and ethnic backgrounds from all different ethnic backgrounds, and had a varsity girls and boys program. So those are kind of the criteria. So they launched it in LA. It was successful. The guy I worked with at the time, he was in charge of 10 schools out there that he identified from a cohort of a list that he worked with to kind of narrow down his school selection, right? So there's a bunch of schools in New York, but there's a
Right.
narrow section that you look for. So with that blueprint being said, he wanted to expand it and see he can do different cities in California, New York, and Atlanta, and Chicago, and so on and so forth. So we go to year 2. You know, I'm doing year 1, so I'm on it. So I get my schools, I select them how I selected them. We get them on board. We get them in part of this fraternity, tell them that, you know, we're going to sponsor, you know, your school for 3 years and give you guys athletic gear and, you know, opportunities to meet athletes and be a part of a community service program and, you know, be part of a true give back and leave a legacy behind. So that was the initiative. There was no catch. There was no commercial. There was no nothing for this. This is strictly just grassroots, strictly just giving back, right? So some of these corporate sponsors they forget quickly about how they come from. So I guess Adidas at the time wanted to really like Joe Weezy, what up, baby?
Hey, I was just about to shout him out.
Joe Weez. So we were just trying to really, you know, put all that sauce together, and it worked. So year 1 was successful. It was about 8 schools that were selected. I'll name the schools. It was Mott Haven, it was Watley, it was Canarsie, Brooklyn Law and Tech.
Is it Mega Evans? Are they part
No,
of it? Okay.
Frederick Douglass Academy.
Okay.
South Bronx Prep.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Democracy Academy. And Brooklyn. I said Brooklyn Law and Tech, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Law and Tech. Yeah. And then salute y'all, salute. So so this year they're all geared up in Adidas tracksuits, jackets, bags. What like there's
John,
like it was like John Adams, yes, and John Adams. Thank you, Mike. Sorry. So they were laced up in like they were going to freaking Division I college schools, right? Like
yeah.
showing with bags and embroidery so I'm here seeing legacy being created in another state. I get a call because of my relationships or my way I've done business. So now see a year later now I'm seeing everybody legacy stuff and this and that. I got Damian Lillard kicking it. They meet Damian Lillard. They meet yo Mike, help me out. They meet Damian Lillard. They meet
Joe, do you have another half hour that you can go?
Yeah, I can go.
Let me end this so we can at least save it. Let's jump right back on.
Bet. All right.